everyone, I'm Emma. Like, share, and subscribe now.
Hey, I'm Jackson. Let's continue today's topic.
Quick question. Someone walks up to you and says, "Hey, how are you?" What do you say? Most English learners say, "I am fine, thank you." And you? It sounds correct. It is grammatically perfect. But here is the thing. If you said that to someone on the street in New York, or in a cafe in London, or at a party in Manchester, they would immediately know you learned English from a textbook. Because nobody actually says, "I am fine." Nobody. Today, we are going to find out why. And more importantly, what people actually say instead.
Welcome to Simple English Talks. I am so glad you are here today because this topic is one that I wish someone had explained to me years ago. I used to say, "I am fine" all the time, and people would respond, and the conversation would just kind of stop. There was something slightly off about it, and I never understood why.
And that feeling, that slight disconnection, is exactly what we're going to fix today. By the end of this episode, you will understand why "I am fine" sounds strange to native speakers, what people actually say in the USA, the UK, Ireland, and Australia, how to make your response to "How are you" sound natural and real, and how to keep the conversation going after that first exchange. All of that today. Let's start from the beginning.
Before we start, tell us in the comments, what do you currently say when someone asks, "How are you?" in English? Do you say, "I am fine," or have you already found something more natural? Write your answer. We read every single comment on this channel.
Let us start with the big question. Why does "I am fine" sound strange? Because grammatically, it is completely correct. Fine means okay, good, not bad. "I am fine" should work. So why does it feel off?
I think part of it is that it sounds too formal, like you are giving a report on your health rather than having a conversation.
That is exactly it. And there are 3 specific reasons why "I am fine" sounds unnatural in real conversation. Reason 1, it is too clinical. In everyday English, especially in the USA, the UK, and Australia, "How are you" is not really a question about your health or your emotional state. It is a social greeting, like hello with a question mark. When someone in New York says, "Hey, how are you?" they do not actually want a detailed answer. They want a warm, quick, natural response that opens a conversation. "I am fine" sounds like a medical update.
So in New York, if you walk past someone you know and they say, "How are you?" they almost expect you to already be moving to the next part of the conversation?
Exactly. In New York especially, the pace is fast. "How are you?" and the response happen in about 3 seconds. "Good, thanks. You?" "Doing well. How about yourself?" "Hey, great to see you. How have you been?" All quick, all warm, all moving the conversation forward immediately. "I am fine, thank you" has a full stop at the end. It closes the door.
What is reason 2?
Reason 2, fine has a complicated meaning in natural English. When native speakers say fine, it often means not great. Think about this. If you ask a friend how their date went, and they say, "It was fine," you immediately think, "Oh, something went wrong." Fine in that context means disappointing. Or if someone is clearly upset and you ask if they are okay, and they say, "I'm fine," it means, "I am not fine at all. Please ask me again." Fine has this shadow meaning, acceptable but not good. So when you say "I am fine," to a native ear, it can sound like you are saying, "I'm okay, I suppose. Nothing special."
Oh, I had no idea. So I have been accidentally telling people that my life is mediocre every time I say "I am fine"?
In a way, yes. And reason 3,
It is not a conversation starter. Natural English greetings always have a bounce. You answer and you throw the ball back. Good, thanks. How about you? Not bad. How's your week going? Doing well. What about yourself? The bounce is essential. I am fine, thank you, has no bounce. It is a wall, not a door. The other person has nowhere to go with it.
So the problem is not the word fine itself, it is the whole structure of the response. It is too closed, too clinical, and it does not invite the other person back into the conversation.
Perfectly put. Now, let us talk about what people actually say, because this is where it gets really interesting. And we're going to go city by city, because the way people answer this question is actually slightly different depending on where you are. Let us start with the United States. America is big, and the way people greet each other varies from coast to coast, city to city, but there are some phrases that you will hear everywhere, from New York to Los Angeles, from Chicago to Miami. Let us go through them.
I love this idea, going city by city. Let's start with New York. What do New Yorkers say?
New York. Fast, direct, warm. The most common responses you will hear in New York are, good, thanks. How about you? Or just, not bad. You? Or, pretty good, pretty good. New Yorkers often repeat themselves for emphasis. Pretty good, pretty good. Can't complain. You know how it is. These are real New York street responses. Very direct, very quick, very human.
Can't complain. I love that one. It means things are fine, but I am not going to make a big deal about it.
Exactly. And it is very New York in spirit. Understated, practical, no drama. Now, let us go to Los Angeles, which has a completely different energy. In LA, responses tend to be warmer, more enthusiastic. You hear things like, oh, I am doing amazing, thank you for asking. Or, really good, how are you? Or, living the dream. LA has in its language. People are more openly positive. It is a cultural difference as much as a language difference.
Living the dream. That is very American. Do people actually mean it, or is it a bit ironic sometimes?
Both. Sometimes genuine, sometimes ironic, especially on a Monday morning. Context tells you which one. Now, Chicago. Chicago is interesting. It is the Midwest, and Midwesterners are famous for very warm and genuine. In Chicago, you hear things like, doing really well, thanks. Or, oh, keeping busy. Or, can't complain, staying out of trouble. The Midwest has this wonderful quality of being genuinely interested when they ask how you are. They actually want to know.
Staying out of trouble. That is a fun one. It's like saying, my life is okay, and I am not causing any problems. It's humble and a little bit funny at the same time.
Perfect description. Now, across America, there are some universal responses that work in every city. Good, thanks. How about you? Doing well, thanks. Not bad at all. Pretty good. Can't complain. Hanging in there. Living the dream. These all work from Seattle to Miami. And notice, every single one of them bounces back to the other person. How about you? How are you? And you? That bounce is the key to sounding natural.
Write in the comments, which of these American phrases feels most natural to you? Good, thanks? Can't complain? Living the dream? Tell us. We want to know which one you are going to use first.
Now, the UK, and this is where things get really interesting. Because British English is different from American English in some subtle but important ways. And the way British people answer, how are you, is a perfect example of that difference.
I have heard that British people are quite understated. Like, they never say things are amazing, even when they are.
That is very true.
Understatement is a national art form in Britain. Let us start with London. In London, you will hear, "Not bad, thanks," or "Yeah, good, you?" or "Mustn't grumble," or "Get in there," or "Yeah, can't complain." London is cool and understated. People do not gush. Not bad is actually a positive answer in London. If a Londoner says, "Not bad," things are actually pretty good.
Mustn't grumble. That is so British. It literally means I should not complain, which means things are okay, but I have things to complain about. I am just choosing not to.
Exactly. And that is very British. There is a whole philosophy of not making a fuss. Mustn't grumble, can't complain, get in there. All of these have a kind of quiet dignity about them. Now, Manchester, which has a very different energy from London, Manchester is warmer, more direct, more northern. In Manchester, you hear, "All right," as both a question and an answer. Someone says, "All right," and you say, "All right" back. It is the whole greeting in one word. You also hear, "Yeah, not bad, cheers. You?" Or, "Sound, thanks." Sound means good in Manchester. Or, "Grand, thanks." Grand means great.
So Manchester, all right, does everything. It is the question and the answer. I love that.
It is beautifully efficient. Now, Edinburgh, Scotland, Scottish English has its own wonderful phrases. In Edinburgh, you might hear, "Aye, not bad." "Aye" means yes in Scottish English. Or, "Och, getting by." "Och" is a Scottish expression of mild resignation. Or, "Grand, grand." Grand is very common in Scotland and Ireland both. Things are good means things are great.
And what about Dublin, Ireland? Because Irish English is its own beautiful thing.
Dublin and Ireland generally, Irish people are famous for being extremely warm and conversational. In Dublin, you hear, "Sure, not too bad. Yourself?" The "sure" softens everything and makes it very Irish. Or, "Grand altogether, thanks." Altogether adds emphasis. Or, "Deadly, yeah." Deadly in Irish slang means brilliant. Or, "Sure look," which means, well, you know how it is. Things are what they are. If someone in Dublin says, "Sure look," they are being philosophical about life. Very Irish.
Sure look. I love that. It is like a whole attitude about life compressed into 2 words.
It really is. Now, across the UK and Ireland, the universal phrases that work everywhere. "Yeah, good, thanks. You?" "Not bad. Cheers. Yourself?" "Can't complain." "Getting there." "Mustn't grumble." "All right, thanks." All of these work from London to Edinburgh to Dublin. And again, every single one bounces back. "Yourself?" "You?" "Cheers. How about you?" The bounce never disappears. Now, let us talk about structure. Because knowing the phrases is one thing, but understanding why they work is what makes them automatic. A natural response to "how are you" has 3 parts. Part 1, a positive or neutral opener. Good. Not bad. Pretty good. All right. Doing well. Part 2, an optional softener or emphasis. Thanks. Cheers. Honestly. Actually. Part 3, the bounce back. How about you? Yourself? And you? How are things with you?
So even if I've the exact phrase, I can always build something natural using those 3 parts.
Exactly. Good. Thanks. How about you? 3 parts. Pretty good. Honestly. How are things with you? 3 parts. Not bad. Cheers. Yourself? 3 parts. You can mix and match. The structure always works. And the bounce, part 3, is the most important element. Without the bounce,
the conversation stops. With the bounce, it flows.
Let me try some.
Good, thanks. How about you?
Perfect. Very natural. Very universal. Try another.
Not bad, actually. Yourself?
Excellent. That sounds very British. Try one more.
Pretty good. Honestly. How have you been?
That is genuinely natural. That is what you would hear in any coffee shop in Chicago or any office in London. You just built 3 completely natural responses using this structure, and none of them contained I am fine.
This is genuinely exciting because these phrases are not complicated. They are just different from what I learned. The formula makes them easy to build.
And once you practice them a few times, they become automatic. Your brain stops thinking about them and just produces them. That is the goal. So now let us talk about something important: context. Because how are you does not always mean the same thing, and your response needs to match the context. There are 3 main contexts where this question appears, and each one has a slightly different flavor.
What are the 3 contexts?
Context 1, the passing greeting. This is when you pass someone in the hallway, on the street, in the office corridor. It is quick, maybe 2 seconds. In this situation, how are you is almost rhetorical. The response is very short. Good, thanks. Not bad. All right. Just a word or two. No full sentences needed. In New York, especially, this exchange happens while you are both still walking. It is a mobile greeting.
So, in this context, I am fine, thank you would actually be too long? It would feel like I stopped to give a speech?
Exactly. Way too long. 1 or 2 words maximum. Good. All right, not bad. And keep walking. Context 2, the beginning of a real conversation. Someone sits down with you. You are going to actually talk. In this context, how are you means I want to know how you are doing before we get into things. Here you can say more. Doing really well, actually. It has been a great week. Or, honestly, a bit tired. Long week. Or, pretty good. Just got back from Edinburgh, actually. A little more detail is welcome here. And then you throw it back. How about you?
So, in a real conversation, you can actually answer more genuinely. You can say you were tired or you were having a great week, and that is appropriate.
Yes, because in this context, the person genuinely wants to know. Context 3, someone you have not seen for a long time. How are you in this context means tell me everything. What has been going on in your life? Here you hear responses like, oh wow, where do I even start? Or, honestly, so much has happened, I do not even know where to begin. Or, really good actually. So much has changed. These are longer, more open, more personal, because the relationship and the context call for it.
So, the same question, 3 completely different responses, depending on who you're talking to, where you are, and how long since you last spoke. That is so much more than I am fine.
Much richer. And this is the real skill, reading the context and matching your response to it. Once you can do that, you stop sounding like a textbook and start sounding like a real person. Now, here is an important question. What do you say when things are actually not fine? When you are genuinely having a hard day or a difficult week? Because how are you can also be a real question. And sometimes the honest answer is not good. How do native speakers handle this?
I always say I am fine, even when I am not, because I do not know how to say I am not fine in English without oversharing or making it awkward.
And that is incredibly common. The good news is, there are natural, honest responses that do not overshare. You do not have to say, I am fine, and you do not have to tell your whole life story. You can say, oh, could be better. Or, honestly, a bit tired. long week. Or, not the best week to be honest, but getting there. Or, bit of a rough one. Thanks for asking. These responses are honest without being heavy. They open a small door. The other person can choose to ask more, or they can say, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that," and move on. You control how much you share.
Could be better. I love that. It is honest, but not dramatic. It tells the truth without making the other person feel responsible for fixing everything.
Exactly. And in British English especially, there is a beautiful understatement in phrases like, could be better, or not the best week. They communicate difficulty without making a scene. Very British, very dignified. In American English, you might be slightly more direct. Not great, to be honest. A bit tough lately. Rough week. But still not dramatic. Still leaving space for the other person to respond or move on.
Write in the comments, what do you say when things are actually not fine? Do you say, I am fine anyway? Or do you have a phrase you use? We want to know. This is really important.
Let us talk about 3 quick mistakes people make with this exchange, because knowing what not to do is just as important as knowing what to do.
What are the 3 mistakes?
Mistake 1. Answering with no bounce. I am doing well. Full stop. No, how about you? No, and you. Just, I am doing well. It is not wrong, but it is a dead end. The other person has to do all the work of continuing the conversation. Always bounce. Always. Even if you are in a hurry. Good, thanks. You? Is 5 words, and it keeps the conversation alive.
Mistake
2. Being too dramatic in the wrong context. If someone passes you in the corridor in an office in London and says, "How are you?" and you say, "Oh, honestly, I have been so exhausted. Work has been incredibly stressful, and I have not been sleeping well," they will not know what to do. That level of honesty is for close friends, not corridor greetings. Match your response to the depth of the relationship and the context. Corridor? 1 word. Close friend? Real answer.
Mistake 3?
Mistake 3. Not asking back. In English, especially British and American English, reciprocity is essential. You answer, and you ask back. Always. Not asking back signals that you are not interested in the other person, even if you are in a hurry. Good, thanks. You? That question mark at the end changes everything. It says, I am a warm, interested person. I care about you. It costs you nothing. It means everything.
So the 3 mistakes: no bounce, wrong depth for the context, and not asking back. 3 small things that make a huge difference in how you come across.
Huge difference, especially in professional settings in New York, London, Chicago, where first impressions are formed in seconds, and how you handle a simple greeting tells people a lot about who you are. Let us practice right now. I am going to give you a context, and you, yes, listening right now, say your response out loud before Smith does. This is important. Say it out loud. Your mouth needs to practice, not just your brain. Context 1. You are walking past a colleague in the office corridor in London. They say, "Hey, how are ya?" What do you say?
Not bad, cheers. You?
Perfect. 1 second, warm, bounces back, very natural in London. Did you say something similar? What did you say out loud? Context 2. You are starting a meeting in New York. Your client walks in and says, "Hey, good to see ya. How are you doing?" You have a moment to answer properly.
Doing really well, thanks. Good to see you too. How was the flight in?
Excellent. A real answer, warm, and immediately bounces with a relevant question. That is professional American English at its best. Did you try something similar? Context 3. You bump into an old friend you have not seen since university, now in Dublin.
They say, "Oh my God, how are you?"
Oh, wow. Honestly, so much has happened. Where do I even start? How are you? What have you been up to?
Perfect. The energy matches the context. Old friend, Dublin, emotional reunion, big response, genuine excitement, and the bounce is enthusiastic and open. Beautiful.
You know what? I feel like I could handle all three of those situations now. Not because I have a perfect script, but because I understand what each situation needs. And that understanding is the real skill.
That is exactly the real skill. Understanding what the moment needs and responding to that. Not reciting a memorized line, responding to the actual human moment in front of you. What an episode. I genuinely feel like we unpacked something today that goes much deeper than just replacing "I am fine" with a different phrase. We unpacked how greetings work in real English, what they mean, why context matters, how city and culture shape them, and how to make every greeting an opening rather than a closing.
Let us review the key things from today. 1. I am fine sounds clinical and closes conversations. It is grammatically correct, but socially unusual. 2. In the USA, good thanks, how about you? Not bad, pretty good, can't complain, living the dream, all natural and warm. 3. In the UK, not bad, cheers, mustn't grumble, getting there, all right, thanks, grand. Understated, warm, and very British. 4. The 3-part structure. Opener plus optional softener plus bounce works everywhere. 5. Context changes everything. Corridor greeting, real conversation, and old friend reunion all need different responses. 6. When things are not fine. Could be better, bit of a rough week, not the best, honestly. Honest without dramatic.
Your challenge this week. Every time someone asks you, "How are you?" in English, do not say, "I am fine." Use anything else from today. Good, thanks. You? Not bad. How about yourself? Pretty good, honestly. How have you been? Anything. Just not, "I am fine." Notice how differently the conversations feel. Notice how the other person responds. Write in the comments and tell us what happened.
And tell us, which city's version felt most natural to you? New York's pretty good, can't complain? London's not bad, mustn't grumble? Dublin's, sure, grand altogether. Tell us in the comments. We genuinely want to know.
If this episode helped you, please share it with one person who is learning English. And subscribe to Simple English Talks. We are here every week with lessons just like this one. Honest, practical, and made for real learners like you.
Thank you so much for watching. We are so proud of everyone in this community who keeps learning, keeps practicing, and keeps showing up. You are doing something genuinely brave, and we will see you next time. This is Simple English Talks with Emma. See you next time.